Shinsuke Nakamura was destined for stardom when he decided to become a pro wrestler. He was an amateur wrestler in high school, and the bug to become a pro wrestler was apparently inspired by the video game Fire Pro Wrestling on the PC Engine, which he and his friends would play for hours on end in the early 90s. Nakamura joined New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2002, and he had only one match that year against Old Man Tadao Yoshida in August, which Nakamura lost. But a little more than a year later, in December of 2003, Nakamura would find himself at the top of the company, winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, becoming the youngest man ever to win that title, and started off a run that would turn him into a megastar, eventually leading to him being recruited by the WWE in 2016. Papa Inoki, majority owner of New Japan Pro Wrestling at the time, had a hard-on for real-life tough guys, as well as a keen eye for talent, and he was likely drawn to Nakamura's size. Standing 6 feet 2 inches, Nakamura towered over most Japanese people, but Inoki needed to know for sure, which is likely the reason why Nakamura's debut wrestling match was in fact against Tadao Yoshida, whom was close friends with Inoki, and that match was very likely a test to see if Nakamura could handle himself. Nakamura's performance impressed Inoki, and he would encourage Nakamura to train in Vale Tudo with the prospects of a real fight at Inoki's very own year's end MMA event, the Inoki Bom Ba Ye of 2002, held on December 31st. There, Nakamura would be challenging a Gracie, Daniel Gracie, and that is the subject of today's MMA Oddities. Hello, friends and loved ones. It's me, once again, the most dangerous man alive today, back for more odd MMA action. Well, kind of odd MMA action. I guess the reason why this one has been chosen as an MMA oddity is because it was, in fact, Shinsuke Nakamura's very first MMA bout. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura didn't really have a long and storied MMA career, but I guess he had enough fights to be able to say that he did it. Was he successful at it? Not really, but you know what? His MMA career is just kind of a footnote and just sort of adds to the legend that is Shinsuke Nakamura. This Nakamura's first MMA match took place at the Inoki Bom Ba Ye of 2002, held on December 31st of 2002. There, his opponent is going to be Daniel Gracie. Daniel Gracie, he's a cousin of Renzo and Ryan Gracie. He had trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from an early age, but didn't capture his black belt until age 23 in 1996, after he won the absolute brown belt division of the World Jiu-Jitsu Championships. He debuted as an MMA fighter 6 months before his fight against Nakamura here, under the Pride Fighting Championships banner. At Pride 21, Daniel fought another pro wrestler star, All Japan Pro Wrestling's Takashi Shigeura. Daniel would eke out a split decision victory against Takashi, whom would only have a very brief MMA career himself. Not much more to say about these guys. I guess it's time to watch the fight. I am going to be pressing play in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, let me turn this down. Here we go. Daniel Gracie, Shinsuke Nakamura. They're versus each other. And there is Shinsuke, 22 years old at this time. He's looking very pudgy. He's got a lot of baby fat on him still. I guess you could recognize him as Shinsuke, kind of. He's got long, brownish hair. There's Daniel Gracie, and there's Renzo in his corner, and is that... another Gracie is over there. Not sure who that was. I was going to say, is that Ryan? It's not Ryan. Here we go. Both men are about the same size, I think. I think they're both 6'2". I could be wrong. Shinsuke, is that his natural hair color? He wears it very dark now. It looks, Daniel Gracie looks a little bit like Vitor Belfort. Young Vitor Belfort. Not super muscular Vitor Belfort. Just a bit. Just a bit. Here we go, round one. Let's see what has Nakamura got as an MMA fighter. Physically, right here, he doesn't look super impressive. He looks kind of like a doofy, sort of average Joe. But that's typical for Japanese pro wrestlers. I don't really see a whole lot of Japanese pro wrestlers who are like super ripped and buff and impressive looking. They all sort of kind of look a little soft. Some good punching there from Daniel Gracie. He's keeping Nakamura at bay. Nakamura, I think this fight came about because, as I said in the preamble, Antonio Inoki has a legendary hard-on for who he thinks are legitimate tough guys, and he will push those tough guys until they crumble into nothing, like Thanos. And I think Shinsuke has a biography out. It actually came out, I think, a couple years ago in Japan, and then it was released in America. I think it was released like maybe last year. And I'm sure it covers into what was going on with Nakamura as he joined. Ooh, that was a good punch there from Daniel Gracie. Nakamura is trying to go for inside leg kicks here. That was a good outside leg kick there. Kind of tripped up. He shoots. They're on the mat here. Daniel's beating the shit out of Nakamura's face. Typical Japanese pro wrestler MMA style here. And I think Nakamura's busted open. I think he's bleeding a little bit, maybe out of the nose. He's looking a lot like... Oh, he's going for some fucking crazy maneuver there. What is the ref doing? Oh, he's getting pounded on by Daniel Gracie here. What happened? Are we going to check the cut, maybe? Anyway, as I was saying, the Shinsuke's biography probably covers what was happening with him as he entered New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think Antonio Inoki took a liking to him or saw him and saw his size and thought, you know, maybe this guy could be something. I'm going to push him. Obviously, he got, you know, a mega push. Only 14 months after he joined New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was at the top of the company. So Antonio Inoki, again, as I said, he was majority owner of New Japan Pro Wrestling at the time. He had a lot of sway there, obviously. So yeah, I think he kind of took, and this is all my power of assumption. I have an amazing power of an assumption, just knowing the people involved at the time and knowing the stories and kind of knowing the personalities. I'm assuming here that Shinsuke Nakamura was taken under Antonio Inoki's wing. Antonio Inoki encouraged him to start training Valley Tudo because he thought maybe this guy could be a legitimate, MMA fighter, maybe the next Sakuraba. In fact, he's kind of his takedown there of Daniel. This is very Sakuraba-esque in terms of Sakuraba's first MMA fight. He's keeping his head low. That's exactly what Sakuraba did. He's actually looking a little bit like Naoki Sano here. He looks like Naoki Sano versus Royler Gracie. Naoki Sano did not try and pass guard. He stayed at the ends of Royler Gracie's feet and just sort of kept his head in his crotch. He tried to stomp there. He's going for kind of a Achilles stretch or a heel hook here. It's kind of an inverted heel hook. He's lost it though. Now Shinsuke's kind of kicking his feet like a spoiled child. Oh, and he gets pounded there. So you could definitely see a big difference in terms of the aggression of the fighters here. Nakamura is out of his league. He's way out of his league here. I just don't think he has the aggression yet. And this is the fatal flaw of a lot of Japanese MMA fighters, especially during this era. They did not have the aggression. I don't know if it was how they were training, if they were just kind of doing soft grappling and sparring. They didn't seem to have a whole lot of hate. And now Daniel Gracie's a mount. Daniel Gracie is definitely not one of the more impressive Gracies, but he's impressing me here. This is his second MMA fight, the second pro wrestler in a row, and it's easy to beat up a know-nothing pro wrestler. So before I make myself a fool here, I was just going to say Daniel Gracie's looking pretty good, but again, who's he beating up here? He's beating up a pro wrestler who has limited mixed martial arts skill. I'm sure Shinsuke has some form of martial arts in his background, karate or some fucking shit. Who knows? I'm sure somebody knows. Correct me in the comments. Call me an asshole when you correct me what his martial arts background is. But anyway, there's a big difference between doing some gentle martial arts like karate or kicking and doing leg sweeps and fucking God knows what, and then actually fighting. There's a big difference. Okay, very limited amount of karate practitioners are like real fighters. It's more of a exhibition, a showcase of doing kicks and shit. doing spinning kicks. That's great. Doesn't work in a fight for the most part, unless you set it up. Anyway, Daniel Gracie, back to what I was talking about. He's looking pretty good here. He's really aggressive, and you can see the big difference. He's back in mount here. Big difference in terms of aggression. Shinsuke doesn't really know what to do on the bottom. He's looking very Naoki Sano-ish, and I say this, listen, go watch our review of Pride Fighting Championships #3 on the channel. And you can see Naoki Sano fight Royler Gracie for 30 some odd minutes. And Naoki Sano doesn't throw a single punch in the first 30 minutes. I think he throws one punch after the 30-minute mark. Anyway, here we go, second round. Shinsuke was definitely owned in that round by Daniel. He's out of his element here. Daniel Gracie is comfortable with this. Even though Daniel Gracie is a low-rent Gracie, I'm still sure he was put through the paces, getting beat up by Henzo and Royler and fucking Hickson and Hoger, whatever fucking names you can think of the Gracies. They all probably beat him up. That's just how the Gracies, they do it. They have backyard barbecues and they have fights. Well, that's a good punch there from Nakamura, but I think Daniel Gracie got the better of him on that one. Backyard BBQ grappling fights are commonplace at Gracie family barbecues. High and Gracie famously, go look up the video, High and Gracie backyard fight. He's in cute Speedo fighting another unknown aggressor in a cute Speedo, who I assume is a rival of the Gracie family. And they just sort of roll around in the grass, and men of much older age just sort of surround them and egg them on. It's very homoerotic in a way, but that's what happens at Gracie family barbecues, at least in Brazil. I don't think they've all the Gracies have moved to fucking America. Why the fuck would you want to live in Brazil? I'm not talking shit about Brazil. Before any Brazil viewers, there won't be many. I don't think many Brazilian fighters. Well, there's a Gracie in this one, so there might be some Brazilian viewers. I'm not talking shit about Brazil. I'm sure Brazil's a great country. He almost went for an armbar there, but he didn't secure it that well. He had bad control. But come on. All the Gracies, literally, as soon as they could, moved out of Brazil and moved to America. There's a reason for that, folks. There's a reason for that. Because I think even if you're rich and famous in Brazil, you'd rather live in America. That's just the facts. There you go. That's a good punch from Nakamura. He needs more of that. He needs to pretty much get out. Oh, that was a good kick. I guess that was kind of a good strategy. He needs to get away from the bottoms of the ends. Hope he's going to get caught here in an armbar. It's coming. That's a short armbar, but he's got it. I see Nakamura tapping out here. Yep, that's it. He tapped out. Fight's over. Well, was that a good showing from Nakamura for his first MMA fight? I say no. That was pretty bad. But he would give it a try again. In fact, his next fight would be a victory. I fucking don't know who he fights at this point in time. Is that High and Gracie that's picking him up? It might be. Might be his cousin. He trained with Henzo and Hyen a lot. I think that is Hyen, Gracie. He's really small. Hyen Gracie, of course, himself had a famous run-in with a pro wrestler at Pride 15, Pride 14, something like that. He beat up Tokumitsu Ishizawa. No, he didn't. It wasn't Tokumitsu Ishizawa. That might have been. Kendo Kashin is the guy's pro wrestler name, who he beat up. Savage beating. But Kendo Kashin would get his comeuppance in a revenge bout where I think he won by a decision. That's up and the video's over. It's done. It was Pride 22 or something like that. It's coming up. So what'd you think of Shinsuke Nakamura's first MMA fight? I know I didn't talk a whole lot about the fight, but there was a bunch of kind of topics I wanted to cover since we were discussing Shinsuke. Plenty of stuff for you to digest in the comments. You can let me know how stupid I am, what an idiot I am, how I don't know anything. But I'm pretty sure I was pretty close on all my details there. I don't think I was wrong about a lot. Even the stuff I was speculating on, I guess, in terms of Antonio Inoki and his role in Shinsuke Nakamura's sort of being carried, Antonio Inoki carrying Shinsuke Nakamura to his great heights. Why else would Shinsuke Nakamura fight in MMA and fight at Inoki's own MMA event if it wasn't because Inoki had a massive hard-on for him and thought he was going to be a real badass? Anyway, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more awesome MMA action of various different styles. This was an MMA oddity. Yeah, it was. I would say this is a legitimate MMA oddity. So anyway, I am the most dangerous man alive today. I'm wishing you goodbye, good luck, and we'll sniff you fucking jerks later.